Hi there, folks. Here's another episode of Treasure Valley NIA QuickTips. What it is a couple of years ago, I run a once a month professional networking groups. The franchise is called Network in Action out of Houston, Texas. And I just continually was meeting very high quality experts in their fields here in the Valley, Treasure Valley, Idaho. And I thought, wow, I need to, showcase them and get the information out to the people here in the Treasure Valley. And that's where this really came to be. And today's a perfect example. I brought on an expert in their field. And Lucy, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lucy, Tripplehorn Interiors. I'm an architectural interior designer.
Awesome. So when you do something like that, the interior design, I have like, that's another reason why I bring you on, because it's like I have all these conceptions of what they are. So first of all, what give some of your background? What's your background? How long have you been doing it? Kind of quick
Okay.
overview.
Well,
You started at 12.
well, I started very young. Honestly, I've thought this over many times, how this all began, and it goes back as young as like 4.
Wow.
I remember as a child playing with my Barbie dolls, and my parents were very conservative people. And I don't know if they just didn't believe in buying a lot of toys for the kids or whatever, but they really made us use our head. And they made us like, we were the kind that, you can watch TV for 1 hour and then you have to go outside and play. That kind of parenting skills, excuse me. And so where it started was I loved my Barbie dolls. And I remember I must have been 3 or 4. I used to clear out my closet. It was, a big long closet. And I used to take things from the house to create spaces.
Wow.
And the Barbie dolls would live within this space. So I'd create the kitchen and the living room and the dining room. And I'd take things like washcloths or toilet paper rolls and make, tables. And I'd draw little pictures and put them on the wall. And I didn't know what that was. I just knew I really liked it.
Right.
As I got a little bit older, when I wasn't playing with Barbie dolls anymore, in high school, I took a lot of art classes, and I even started drafting classes. I was the only girl in my class.
Wow.
Or, it was mainly boys. I was the only girl. And I learned mechanical drawing and architectural drafting at, 15 years old.
Wow.
And I loved it. And then, it kind of blossomed onto there that, first of all, my parents did not want me to be a designer. They at that time thought that, you need to have a practical job. You need to go to college and be a doctor like your dad, or you should, be a nurse, or, have something practical. And I tried that, and it didn't work. And I ended up leaving school, moving to Seattle, and putting myself through school for interior architecture. And I love what I do, and I absolutely enjoyed every moment of going through school and all the things that I got to learn. So that's kind of how it happened. And then I just started working, and I owned my own business from a very young age and had no money at all, and started with a credit card actually that I got in the mail, and I think I had like a $5,000 limit, and that's how it started, really. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
That's great.
Yeah.
My kind of when you started talking about it, it made me think of immediately think of my mother, because my mother, since exactly like you, since she was a kid, wanted to be a nurse. And she grew
Yeah.
up on a farm, and she was always trying to doctor everything and fix everything up. And so she became a nurse. But I mean, when you talk to her, she's like, I don't remember ever not wanting to be a nurse. And so when she was a
Right.
kid, like just like you. Anyway, so I thought it was kind of interesting, is that it's cool that you could, come and do your passion. So there's something and you kind of educate me on this, but what type of design style do you have?
Well, a design style, some people don't even know what that is. A design style is, you may be attracted to like a traditional design or contemporary, or you might like a farmhouse design, or you might like something shabby chic. That's what design is. Different design styles, I should say. I would say that yes, I myself do have a design style as well for myself personally, but I am trained to be a conceptual designer, and I try not to bring my own style into a client's personal taste. So I'm trained to work with them and really incorporate what they want. So sometimes when people are looking over my portfolio, for instance, they may say, I really don't like that, or this is not my style, or that's what she does, or whatever. Well, what you have to take into consideration every time that you look, especially at my design, my portfolio, is that I design for my clients. It has nothing to do with what I like or what I dislike. It's what they like, what they want to live with, and how they see and express themselves. And my job is to make it better. So that's the best way I can describe a design style.
No, I love that. I love the
Mhm.
fact that no, I really like that, because you wouldn't want I like that because you know you, people have their own styles, so it's nice that you can come in, and I love what you said, and make it better. Because a lot
Right.
of times people have some ideas on what they're going to do, but I mean they're like maybe some paint colors and stuff, but then it's like, well, what else do we do in this room? And so so do you kind of like, let's say a lot of times when they come, it's probably all over the map, but do you have some people come in sometime and just have like a big empty room and say, hey, we want to kind of update this, and then they try to kind of help you understand what they're looking for, or show
Yeah,
you pictures out of magazines or something?
well, kind of. To me, design, what I do, it's a psychology, really. When I, and I'll get into this with your next question,
Okay.
obviously, but when I sit down with people, it takes a while for me to figure out who they are and how they live. And
Mhm.
so, yes, empty rooms do happen. And they may want to venture into something totally different. So, um, anything can happen. And that's what I love about what I do is, it could be anything, and no job's the same. So,
Cool. Let's say, yeah, well, I'll get into this then. Is that so? In this word you were probably talking about, well, so how do you approach collaboration, um, like with your clients through the design process? How do you
so
collaborate with them when you're going through the
right.
process?
The first meeting, and there always has to be a first meeting, um, can last anywhere between, I don't even give I have a flat fee for my first meeting, and there really isn't a time limit, except for, anything over 4 hours, that's a little too much, but
Yeah.
it could last that long. It just depends on what the scope of the project is. But how it plays out is we come together and we sit down and we talk about their life, if they have dogs, if they have children, where they're from. They may not be from, like, let's say Boise, they may be from New York, which that's a whole nother, when you're dealing with people from the East Coast compared to the West Coast, or from Europe, which I deal with all kinds of clients. Um, you have to take into consideration their background, where they're from, what their style, they do generally give me a specific style that they're going for, whether it be a new style, or something that's just something they really love and they're comfortable with. So we talk, and I try to just listen carefully about what it is and why they hired me and what they want me to do. Because some people, they may not have, their project might not be as big as, some of my commercial projects, or I've had very large residential projects too. It might be just, maybe it's a room, maybe it's just let's say the living room and the kitchen. So I write a lot, I listen to them, and we go into detail about what it is they want to work on, what they like, what they dislike, what they really dislike, how they want me to function within this process. That's very important because there have been times, and there are times where I may not be the contractor on this project. I might be the designer and that's it, which is actually quite a bit, I might say, but I may not be the one who's actually, maybe I'm not doing the kitchen remodel, maybe I'm just designing it, or maybe they've lived in this home for a very long time and it's like 70s. It's maybe it's something, just a square box or a mid-century modern home, and they don't have the original plans. And so I can offer services of, if you don't have the original drawings, then I can actually produce those for you. And
Cool.
so it goes from there, Scott. Things happen as we go forward. And I learn my place and why I was brought on to the project. So.
Yeah, I love that because it just sounds like, I mean, again, I'm just not knowing a lot about, interior design. I would just, I like the way you do it versus what I would think typically would happen. Someone would come in and go, something, this room needs to look like this. And then they take over the process, where really
Right.
it's their, I love the way you go so deep into it. You know what I mean? That listening to them and then asking about dogs and cats and animals and kids. I mean, because it's also about functional too.
It is.
And
There's a
so,
lot to it. People think, I know, when I first opened Tripplehorn Interiors, and I had friends and there's a lot of people that just don't understand what interior design is. It can be very basic or it can be very deep, and that I choose to go that direction because I like the larger projects. I like to have a lot of interaction with my clients and get to know them on a human scale, and to really give them what they want. I want them to be happy with the results, and I want them to be feeling like they are in their space. And that's important. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not, a lot of people think, oh, you're going to go and put some pillows and give me a new couch or whatever. That's not how I do it. It's a process. And, I think that in the end, I have not had a client who's been disappointed, because, like I said, we put the time into it, and I want them to be proud of their spaces and want to have people come over, or even living there themselves. They come home and they're relaxed. It is the psychology. There's things that go into it, and it takes many hours to get to know those people and what they want and how they want to live. And that's my job. That's what I do.
yeah, I just love how deep you go into it. That really, I mean, that resonates with me, and I'm sure a lot of other people too, because like I said, it's just not superficial, because I can just see if someone doesn't, I love the way you go so deep, because then they're taking ownership on it. So when it's done, it's like, wow,
This is
Lucy
them.
took us,
It's not me.
Lucy took us this whole process. Yeah, exactly right. So
And
that's awesome.
I've had plenty of clients where, listen, I didn't know where I was going to go because their style might be something that I'm not, it just might be a mishmash of whatever, or, they have an idea in their head and sometimes they just don't know how to express it. And that's why it takes so long, is because I'm the one that's got to pull that out to figure out what that is for them. And there have been plenty of jobs that it would never be anything that I would choose, but I can easily put it aside. Like I said, I'm trained for that, to make it the best it can be with what I have and what's important to them.
I love that.
Mhm.
So what you've done all types of projects. So what's your favorite one type?
The type of project I think that I find most interesting, unique. I like a complicated palette, that it kind of allows my artistic mind to go a little bit wild. And then we can hone it in and bring it to reality. But I do like, I like complicated in the sense of, even, people, I like something they can't explain themselves. It's sort of like finding a needle in a haystack. I like pulling that out. I like trying to figure out what that is they want. Or maybe they have something very specific that's supposed to be incorporated in this. And I like that research. I love to do research and find out where they got that from or why. And I like to bring something that's unexpected into the project, and that they're totally excited about, because my job too is to make sure that what they're getting, no one else will have it. You're not going to walk into the neighbor's house and say, oh, well, how nice, you've got the beige walls and that black and white over there. That's not going to happen. My job is to make it very individual. And not everybody's for me. Some people don't want that. Some people want you to there are many different kinds of designers, that they can come in and they can give you furniture and they can get the nice pillows and they can do the artwork and the lighting and done. That's not, if you're looking for somebody who's going to take you a little bit deeper and bring you into a design and a style that's all yours, then I'm your person. Definitely.
So that being said, so over the years, what's a project that was one of the most unique ones you've ever done?
I've had a lot of them.
Commercial or residential?
Well,
What's one that
commercials
you just went,
generally
wow, this is really different. I've
interesting.
never, I mean, yeah, interesting that someone would go, wow, you did that. I mean, yeah, just something
Yeah,
interesting
there
or
are. There's one that sticks out, specifically. Commercial jobs are not as emotionally tied. So, there's a little more freedom there, because, you're not designing for a person or persons, you're designing for a company. And so there's not that attachment. But I would say there's one specific project that I started, which I thought was just a master bathroom remodel. I tend to like kitchen and bathroom remodels, and I'm a contractor as well as an interior designer. Um,
now see that
so
right there, that part is awesome, because the fact that you're a contractor too also helps. I would think that helps you in your design, because
yes, it
you know what I mean,
does.
because yeah, because I mean I mean that's big. I mean, because if I mean, moving walls and doing stuff, I mean, it's one thing about thinking about them, it's another thing about doing it.
Yeah, that's what I
Making
do.
it
People
happen.
often ask me into, like, can we take this down? Can we do this? And then, again, that's where this first meeting comes in to play, is because we talk about those things about, well, I mean, I find out that a lot of times I can see where a structural wall would be, or, how's that going to impact the rest of the house, so there are things, yeah, that, and I do get asked frequently by even real estate agents to, can you come over and talk to my client who's thinking about buying this house and do a walkthrough? And, I've been known to be able to sell the house, because I can tell them right off the bat, this is what you can do. This is probably what you can't do. This is, I can give them kind of a realistic idea of what they're going to be spending, to do a remodel on the, depth that they want to go. And, that can either make a sale or break it, depending on if it meets their needs. So back to the, one of my
It's
favorite projects, if you will. I met this woman who asked me over for a master bath remodel. And I thought it was a typical, this is going to be a typical master bath remodel. She really didn't give me much information. We met, walked in, and she was really quite close-lipped about it and didn't really, she said she wants to do this and she wants to do that. There was no budget. I'd ask her continuously, what are you thinking? How much do you want to spend on this? Because from how you're speaking to me, this could be quite expensive. She would never really say. So as we got into the project and I started doing drawings, um, things started changing. She would, you know, ask for things that are quite spendy. And I still was really shaking my head thinking, what is going on here? And I just kind of had to go with it. She was paying me hourly, which I charge hourly for all this. And, I was like, okay, well, let's just ride this out. And so let's just say in the end, it turned into a 5-year project
Wow.
of a master bathroom remodel that was well over $1 million. And it is one of my
Wow.
absolute favorite projects. I got to really use all my talents creating tiles, bringing things in from Europe. All the designs are mine. I honed it in. The ceiling even changed to a domed ceiling.
Wow.
It took us 5 years. I created a very good relationship with her. I still work with her today. She's in Seattle. And it was just a joy. I got to bring in muralists. I found these really cool mermaids that are made of stone that actually have a story, which I love to bring into my projects, like I was mentioning earlier, something different or unique. I found them. I love to junk. I love to go to antique stores and junking and find like really weird, unusual things to make my full project something special. And I found these. It was in a field. These two, what they were is the sides to a mantle, and they were hand carved out of travertine. I found them literally laying in a field with grass over them at this place in Seattle that they have junk basically. And I went in there and I'm like, how much are these? And they're like, well, nobody's ever asked us. We don't really know. And I'm like, how about $600? So I bought them, and we have those in the bathroom. We use them on top of the countertops on the vanities, and they're spectacular. They've got a story to them, which I don't really want to go into because it would take another hour for me to explain it. But they have a story which she loved. Her husband is a captain on a fishing vessel, so it all like worked together, and it was a beautiful, beautiful space. It really, really is. And in fact, we're still working on other parts of her project, so she won't let me take pictures yet. So they're coming. We're creating in the downstairs area, the lower level, a European library. And she's got all kinds of antiques and stuff we're going to incorporate into that. So I have to say that's probably one of my very favorite projects.
That
Yeah,
would
and
be
it's
wonderful.
ongoing. It keeps going and going and going, and I love that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this gets to when anytime you do projects, it's about how do you keep on schedule, and that's in any type of remodel or any type of anything. So how do you keep projects on schedule?
Well, it's like everybody else, anybody in construction or in contracting. I have spreadsheets, and I become a project manager like anybody else, anybody in the construction industry. And I basically, I get my subs together and we talk about timelines. We talk about those with the client. Um, furnishings, if we're say for instance, we're going to be having sofas made for us. I do that. I have done that. Everything's specialty in my industry. Can do anything. And I basically, my job is I've kind of become a project manager, excuse me. And so how the job starts is, we've got that. I try to keep them up on, this is how it's going to start. This is where this begins. Depending on the scope of the project, I try to give them an outline of how long it's going to take. I try to be very open about that, because as you know, when you're relying on other people, things change. So it's not, they have to be open to, the appliances aren't going to arrive for another 6 weeks. And, so they have to be open to that and really understand that, my subs, maybe they were supposed to do the floors, come in and start working on the floors or whatever. But if we have a structural issue, that's going to push things off. So I try to be very open with them, for what to expect. I think when contractors come in and say, oh, we can have this done in 3 months, that's not accurate. That very rarely. And, especially the kind of clientele that I like to work with, they have to be very open to, if they want a fabulous outcome, they have to be very open to things change. And I try to stay on track as close as I can, but especially if they're throwing something at me like, oh, we really want this. Well, that's going to say, for instance, they're asking for, wood from Australia or, whatever thing. If I can't get it, that kind of influences your timelines. So I do my best. I try to have really good communication with my clients. I'm always on the job site. I even work on the job site sometimes. I know that might be hard to imagine because you don't know that side of me yet, but I love to be in the middle of it. And I am the kind of person that I like to get my feet and hands wet when I'm working on a project. I am there. And, if I come in, I'll come in with jeans and a t-shirt and rip walls apart if I have to. It doesn't matter. And I love that. I really like to have my, hands in it, not just design it and walk away. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, this has been great. This overall, this has been a good understanding for me too. Cause like I said, you think you understand something, but then talking with someone like you who's been doing it for so long, you just understand there's a lot more to it than just, putting a couch in the corner and throwing pillows.
Right. That's not, I just always,
Yeah.
it takes time to explain it to people, and the ones that get it. Some don't have any interest in this, but I'm all in when it comes to my work. I'm very, very dedicated and passionate about what I do. And those are the kind of clients that would suit me best. And, it doesn't have to be a huge job. It can be a small job. The other thing I wanted to throw in is every once in a while, I've been known to work for people for free. And the reason I do that is, one, to keep me humble, I guess. And I've taken on restaurants. I've done free design work because, maybe they're startups and they don't have the cash. And if I know I can make a difference for people, I've been known to do that. I had one restaurant that I did, and instead of paying me, they gave us unlimited meals. And it was a gourmet restaurant. So my husband and I could come in anytime and they would, we could have a nice dinner. And it was really wonderful for me because I got to continually go in there, and they enjoyed the space, and it became a very popular restaurant. So I do that every once in a while.
Awesome. So how would, if someone want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Lucy?
Well, I have a website. It's Tripplehorn Interiors, and
Okay.
that would be the easiest way to get a hold of me. Also, it'd give you more information about what I do. And I do have contact information. And at the bottom of my website, there's a discovery call, and that's free. You can call me up or make an appointment, and we can talk for a half an hour, just to get a gist to see if you even like me. So it really is important to make sure that you like who you're working with. You don't just hire them because, they're the best price or whatever. You want to make sure both sides get along. And I've had that too, where, it just doesn't work. We're not going to mesh, but that is the easiest way. And, or you can, send me an email as well, which is that my email address is on there as well.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll put all your contact information in the show notes to make it easy to get a hold of you. So this has been great. I really, really appreciate Lucy, and this has been another episode of Treasure Valley NIA Quick Tips, and appreciate you listening. Until next time, thanks.